It's midday here in Lagos, Nigeria, and we're reaching you live from our global headquarters in Lagos. Welcome to Channels Television's Lunchtime Politics. I am Bukola Koka, and here are our top stories. Mixed level of compliance recorded nationwide as Labour begins nationwide industrial action. The federal government says the strike action called by leaders of the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress asking for workers to commence a strike is not in the interest of the nation. Zamfara state government declares state of emergency in the education sector, just as it suspends the licensing of private schools in the state. And we'll begin immediately, as there's been a mixed level of compliance with the industrial action directed by the leadership of labor unions. In most states, the strike is mostly observed at government offices. In Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, staff of the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company were stranded at the gate, which is under lock and key, in compliance with the industrial action by the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress.
It is a national directive, and as at yesterday, between 2 and 5, the joint NEC was conducted, and it was from that meeting that was resolved unanimously that we should embark on that indefinite strike, which commenced 12 midnight. And we are here, and we have been going around to ensure that there is compliance. And the way I'm saying things, the compliance is encouraging. And there's no way out by which we can pull out as a body because it is a joint decision. We have circulated different letters and to all affiliates, and all affiliates they have started their members to stay at home, because this particular strike is stay at home action. It is not the type of strike that will be, forcing them out of offices. No, it is stay at home action. That is the style of this strike. And if peradventure we have some people that attended to official duties, I'm very sure with time they will eventually see reason why they have to stay at home.
The story is, however, different at the local wing of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, which has been buzzing with activities as hundreds of passengers visiting airline ticketing counters for their flight tickets and other boarding documents. So far, the call by organized labor is not impacting on flight operations at the airport. A source at the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, however, told Channels Television that they are on red alert and are taking extra security precautions to forestall any security breach that may arise as a result of organized labor's call for an industrial action. And the Edo State chapter of the NLC has shut down government offices in compliance with the nationwide industrial action declared by the national body. At the Civil Service Secretariat in Benin City, the Edo State capital, union leaders, including the state NLC chairman, Mr. Odion Olaye, locked out civil servants who had come to work. It's the same scenario at the State High Court, the Edo State House of Assembly, where the gates are equally under lock and key. Some of the banks in the same capital also closed their doors to customers who are left to do their transactions at the ATM terminals. And in the south, there's been a high level of compliance, in particular in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. At the Federal Secretariat along Aba Road, which houses multiple ministries, departments, and agencies, the offices in the facility were largely empty. Those that were open had very few staff at work. Some of the offices visited include a Federal Character Commission, Ministry of Works, Housing, and the Nigeria Immigration Service, among others. The NIS had a full staff complement, but others did not. And the story is similar at the State Secretariat along Moscow Road, where skeletal services are on, but not a full complement of staff. And now let's we have joining us rather, our correspondent in River State, Charles Oporum, to bring us up to speed with the story on the compliance by workers across state structures in the state, River State. Hello, Charles.
Hello, Bukola.
Yes, indeed. It's good to have you join us. Tell us exactly what's happening.
Okay, I'm standing here within the premises of the Federal Secretariat just behind me. This building is 8 floors. It houses most of the federal ministries, departments, and agencies, including the Federal Ministry of Education, the Nigerian Immigration Service, Federal Ministry of Works, Housing, to mention but a few. We took a tour. We went all round from the ground floor to the 8th floor. And indeed, aside from the security agency, which is the Nigerian Immigration Service, and some members of the customs who are also housed here. Most of the offices, most of the ministries, the offices are largely empty. You know, the Ministry of Works, Federal Character Commission, Ministry of Housing. We try to interact with some of the staff. You know, a few of them. Some even said we're not even aware there is a strike. We're even surprised to come here and see that our colleagues did not come to work. You know, but largely there is a substantial level of compliance with regards to the strike action. Recall that earlier this morning, the organized labor NLC and TUC jointly signed a statement, you know, which they released to the public, demanding or asking their members to proceed on industrial action today. So, from what we've seen here on ground, it has largely been complied with. But this is the Federal Secretariat. The State Secretariat is down the road, Moscow Road, of course, and it's similar. Though at the State Secretariat, there's some level of skeletal services ongoing, you know, but I would say that there is a lot more compliance here at the Federal Secretariat as compared to the State Secretariat. Bukola.
Yes, Charles, it appears a rather high level of compliance. Tell us, are there any issues that you may have gathered from staff who happen to be around about why there's this degree of compliance?
So, first off, the gate to this facility is open. People have been coming in, people have been going out, right? In fact, a few minutes ago, or maybe like 10 minutes ago, the controller of the Nigerian Immigration Service and his team, they actually drove out, you know. So there is nobody's preventing staffers from accessing the facility and going out. So there's free movement in and out. However, when it comes to entering the office, I did see people who came to have one level of one kind of service or the other, you know. But when they got to the offices, they were closed, you know. Nobody's actually enforcing. I looked around for organized labor enforcers and all of that. Nobody was enforcing. It seems like, you know, it's sort of voluntary compliance from members of staff, the civil servants who work here. Because the lady I spoke to, you know, in one of the offices said she was not even aware there was a strike, that she was actually surprised that she came to work this morning and her colleagues were not at work. You know, so I have to even show her the memo as released by organized labor, and then she said, oh, okay, maybe she should close and go and join them. You know, so that is what I actually witnessed when I entered into the facility here. So there's nobody enforcing it. It's some high level of voluntary compliance.
I was wondering if there were any underlying workers' issues that may have informed this high level of compliance. But also, have you been able to speak with any labor leader to find out what the next line of action would be, or if there would be any rallies in the future, in the short term?
So I spoke with the NLC chairman, and the state TUC chairman, both of them, I did speak with them this morning. The NLC chairman said he would call me back, that he has a meeting to attend. Now, the TUC chairman said they would be holding a briefing any moment from now. So once we're done from here, we'll be proceeding to Labour House to listen to whatever it is, they are going to be telling members of the public. Now, as for whether there is an underlying challenge or dispute between staffers and their superiors, we're not aware of any such thing. I did speak to a high-ranking official, who wishes to remain anonymous because she said she's not authorized to grant an interview to the press. But speaking to me privately, she said, that she came to work. Some of their staff are engineers and they are out in the field, but that they don't have any problem with anybody. They are just complying with the directive which was issued to them by organized labor earlier this morning. So, to the best of our knowledge, there is no dispute between the employees and the superiors. And then we'll be going to hear what organized labor have to say during their briefing later today. Okay.
All right, Charles, thank you very much. Our correspondent in Rivers State, Charles Opurum, bringing us updates on the strike called by the NLC and the TUC and its level of compliance in Rivers State.
Thank you.
The nationwide industrial action by the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, has begun, and the Kano State chapter has joined the strike. However, the compliance level is not 100%, as many schools are operating while some are sending students back home. The Audu Bako Secretariat Gate was opened this morning, and despite there were leaves being hung at the gate, while some workers were seen entering the Secretariat. Meanwhile, the federal government says the strike action called by leaders of the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress asking for workers to commence a strike action is not in national interest, as a restraining order was issued last week by Justice Benedict Bakwash Kanyip of the National Industrial Court. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Nonuga, explains that the decision by the NLC and TUC, other than being an ego-tripping move, is clearly unwarranted, but an attempt to blackmail the government by the leadership of the NLC. The statement quotes, "We're still at a loss as to why the NLC and TUC decided to punish a whole country of over 200 million people over a personal matter involving the NLC president, Mr. Joe Ajaero, whose error of judgment led to an assault on him in Owerri, the Imo State capital, while he was planning to incite the workers in Imo State into a needless strike." It further adds that the federal government does not condone any form of violence and assault on any citizen of Nigeria, regardless of his or her social and economic status. It is on record that the Inspector General of Police has ordered an investigation into what happened to Mr. Ajaero, while the Commissioner of Police in Imo State, under whose watch the incident happened, has been transferred out of the state. He warned that the national economy and social activities should not suffer because of the personal interest of any labor leader and the flagrant disobedience to court orders and lack of respect for the judiciary, which should not be what the organized labor should be championing. He reiterates that this strike action is illegal, immoral, unjustifiable, and irresponsible. And there's more on the strike called by organized labor and the level of compliance in many states of the Federation, but that will come your way after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The governorship election in Imo State may have come and gone, but the dust is yet to settle as the Labour Party and the PDP are calling for an outright cancellation due to irregularities that allegedly marred the exercise. At a press conference in Owerri, the state capital, the governorship candidates of the Labour Party, Athana Chono, and the PDP, Samuel Ayaun, say the election is below standard and a dent on the integrity of INEC. Meanwhile, some INEC-accredited election observers have commended the electoral umpire and security operatives for the conduct of the election.
48 hours after the result of the Imo State governorship election was announced, with Senator Opuzodinma of the APC emerging as the winner of the poll. The People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party in the state are calling for an outright cancellation of the poll.
And the watchful eye of the security operatives, a chairman of a party who is a state agent of a party, was molested, assaulted, bundled out of the place, and nobody raised an issue. I saw what happened in Bayelsa when such an incident wanted to take place. All the security agents came to the rescue of the man in question. But here, Bayelsa is 8 local governments. Up till as we speak, collection is still going on. Imo State with 27 local governments, collection took place under 1 hour.
From information available to us now, it was even the EOs who were sharing their money to RAs and the collection officers. The EOs were sharing it, telling them what to do, giving them already written results. We have now written to the INEC chairman for a total review of that election so that whoever is the victor will be announced, or outright cancellation of the election.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress APC has also been reacting to the outcome of the election. According to the state chairman, McDonald Ebere, the election was free, fair, and credible.
We accept with every sense of humility the result of the election as announced, which is a comprehensive, undiluted, unmitigated, and unreserved verdict of our people. The victory of our party and the governor in the 27 local government areas of the state is no doubt a reflection of the popularity and acceptability of the shared prosperity administration of Governor Hope Uzodinma. This victory is symbolic and uncommon as it is unprecedented.
However, at a joint press briefing by a group of INEC accredited observers who monitored the election across the 27 local government areas of the state, commended INEC and security operatives over the conduct of the exercise.
We conclude by stating very categorically that the November 11, 2023 Imo State governorship election actually took place as scheduled, under a very peaceful and calm atmosphere. The exercise was transparent, credible, free, and fair, in line with democratic tenets and constitutional democracy. We therefore adjudge it to have met the international best practices for democratic election.
The Imo State governorship election is one of the 3 off-cycle elections conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission last Saturday, with 17 political parties in the contest for the #1 seat in the state. At the end, the incumbent, Senator Hope Uzodinma of the APC, was declared winner with 540,308 votes.
There's more on the off-cycle elections, as the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Kogi State, Mr. Dino Milai, has alleged several discrepancies in last Saturday's off-cycle election in the state. Mr. Milai alleges overvoting and discrepancies in 17 of the 21 local government areas in the state. He spoke on our sister political program, Politics Today.
Overvoting in 17 local governments, including my local government, Ijumu local government. Accreditation on from EC8A. You can see what it is. Then see the discrepancies with what you have in Rivers accreditation. Just look at it. It's so clear, so open, so brazenly done, so shamelessly done, so ridiculously done. Remember yesterday when INEC made a press release, they said there were discrepancies or reported discrepancies in 5 local governments and that they were investigating it. INEC said they were investigating it. While you were investigating, you went ahead to declare those local governments. You will see how mutilated the result sheets are. You will see where PDP votes were cancelled and reduced. This is an example of one. You know, PDP votes there cancelled and reduced, while that of APC increased. I have about 10 of such results here. All of this is just an example, but I have more than 200 results. And there are 72 polling units where I won elections in local government. At the point of announcement, they say there are no result sheets. They say there are no result sheets. Result sheets now manifested at the collation center.
Meanwhile, the candidate of the African Democratic Congress in the November 11, 2023 governorship election in Kogi State, Mr. Leke Abejide, is calling on President Tinubu to revamp the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in order to ensure the delivery of free, fair and credible elections. Addressing a news conference in Lokoja, the state capital, Mr. Abejide says the conduct of the electoral umpire in the just concluded polls is a far cry from the promise made by the commission to organize credible elections that will reflect the will of the electorate. Mr. Abejide, who says he is not prepared to challenge the outcome of the election in court, claims that despite the introduction of technology, INEC deliberately falsified results even in his own stronghold in order to guarantee the victory of the All Progressives Congress.
Everybody is sad because of the way the election went in some areas. So I want to appeal to my followers that they should take it in good faith. That is how God wants it. There's no point of fighting anybody or causing crises anywhere. Let us move forward. Let us think how to adjust all the lapses we saw, even from our own side. We should sit down and look into it so that the future can be better. In future, we'll be able to do better and even win the election. Please, I'm talking to all my supporters across the 21 local government. Please remain calm and take this as an act of God. That is how God wants it. Whoever has won, or the rule that has been declared, you let it go. There's no point of going to any court. There is no point of wasting the resources of the government even though they cancel it. You know, those of us that are political actors, there's no how you can contest election without using resources. It's a lot of wasting of the government resources and your personal resources. So I'm not in support of cancellation.
And now back to the reports on the strike called by organized labor. The headquarters of the Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company, officials of the National Union of Electricity Employees, locked the main gates and prevented both staff and customers from gaining access into the offices. Reacting to the development, the Northwest Zonal Organizing Secretary of the National Union of Electricity Employees, Bukat Barde, says the manhandling of the NLC president is a total assault on the entire Nigerian workers that shouldn't be swept under the carpet. He vows that the strike is total and indefinite until the federal government yields to the demands of labor unions. At the Kaduna State Secretariat, located along the Independence Way in the metropolis, workers were seen in their offices carrying out their official functions. Some of the civil servants say they were not aware of the NLC strike and have not been given any directive to join the industrial action. Some banks along the Yakubu Gowon Way also opened for service as customers were seen going into the banking hall to transact their businesses.
I'm not given any directives that we should go on strike. I'm working.
We locked the premises, not only Kaduna Electric, the entire power sector, which is my constituency, in compliance with the directive of Nigerian Labour Congress as an affiliate of Nigerian Labour Congress. In respect to the brutality and the maltreatment given to the president of Nigerian Labour Congress, Comrade Joe Ajero, who happens to be the General Secretary of National Union of Electricity Employees. This happened in Imo, and we look at it inhuman. It's uncalled for. It's not expected of a democratically elected government. And it's funny that Nigerian government is handling this with a kid glove. If you call it personal issue, it's like you went to Imo on his own. He was in Imo for an official assignment for Nigerian workers. It was a Nigerian workers assignment that took him to Imo. That was what happened. He went there to address the workers in respect of the issues that are having with the government. And funny enough, that met him there.
As part of efforts to upscale the standard of education in Zamfara state, the state government has suspended further licensing of private schools in the state. Speaking in Gusau, the state capital, Governor Dauda Lawal declares a state of emergency in the education sector in the state, noting that over 245 schools will be renovated across 14 local government areas. Mr. Lawal said teachers and education managers in the state will also be trained.
In my campaign manifesto and inaugural speech, I made a promise to the people of Zamfara State that my administration would implement policies and programs aimed at reforming the education sector. As a result, my administration has commenced the following emergency response: construction and renovation of 245 schools across the 14 local government areas of the state, to provide two-seater desks for pupils and students, totaling 9,542 schools across the 14 local government areas, to equip the constructed and renovated 245 schools within 619 tables and 926 chairs for teachers across the 14 local government areas. As part of the emergency response, teachers and education managers at all levels will receive training and retraining in all subject areas. In order to maintain a minimum level of quality in the delivery of education, the government has suspended the license of private schools providers in the state. This is done to ensure that private schools meet the required standards for providing quality education in a comfortable environment with well-trained teachers, quality infrastructure, and necessary equipment.
And with hopes of an early resolution of all disputes, we end Lunchtime Politics, and you have been served today's edition. Join us again tomorrow when we bring you another edition of the program. I am Bukola Koka. Bye for now.